Lake Helen's millage rate is higher than ours. That little bitty teachy weechy town.
Let me get my glasses. These glasses. We'll call the City Commission workshop to order. It is, what time? 5:10? 5:10? And I'll send it over to the city manager, Derek Vietcher.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for this opportunity to present prior to our first reading. We know that the mayor had stated that he may be somewhat late. I do think that Commissioner May and Commissioner Henry should be coming. Wanted to just do an overview. We have staff members who will be making a part of a presentation, but wanted to just frame the discussion point. In March, on March 5th, we had our priority setting workshop for our upcoming priorities for the year. What were your expectations? If you all recall, you did receive a City Commission priority sheet that also had your individual priorities on them a while back. And so we focused on putting the budget together based off of that particular priorities for here on the first reading. Now, as we say, this is the first reading, so we do have the ability over the next 2 weeks, if you find anything that's concerning to you that you want to share, either here in this workshop or also before the second reading, you have that ability also. Each year, I assign different individuals to the Budget Committee to help the department directors submit their information to our budget committee for this year, just to formulate the ideas and bring them back to you all based off of department directors and managers. With Drew Driscoll, our deputy city manager, fire chief, Natalia Eckhart, our chief financial officer, finance director, Jim Sexton, human resources director, and our budget officer, Kylie Shavozi, who, Kylie, how long have you been here with us?
4 months.
4 months, but she has an extensive background working in the budget. She actually worked at the Sheriff's Department for how many years or months?
A little less than 5.
5 years. And there, so we've worked with all of our staff members on this particular item. And so just because we don't have as much time, we just want to do some highlights. The budget is presented is based on 5.93 mills. It's the same from last year. Our citywide budget is about $380 million, with the general fund proposed budget about $160 million. So you look at the new construction that's taken place, and the revenue that's generated by one mill is about $9.9 million a year. So I'm going to have Mr. Driscoll here, Drew, come up and just talk about what you all have been dealing with. We've been able as a community to really sustain around the same mill.
Well, to understand where we're going, we have to understand first where we've come from and perhaps recollect the external and internal influence that helped derive the millage rate. Here we see a 12-year historical representation of the city's millage rate. I'm sure John could probably fill us in going back to the Mayor Asher years, but we thought we'd just look at 12 for today. You can note several years of higher millage rates where we were able to reduce the millage rate, finding the right balance for the time. Again, several factors come into play when developing the millage rate, such as growth, labor needs, new construction, inflation, the diversity of our property class, community needs, internal needs, and of course, the vision of the City Commission. The millage rate is not an arbitrary number, but more so a finely honed balance of factors in our needs.
We need more.
Though I'm not a believer in comparisons, as there are too many variables to account for, we wanted to offer this view just to show where we stand amongst other Volusia County cities. In review of these cities, who has more special events, who has the most schools, who has the most government exempt properties? We do. But despite these challenges, we remain in the middle of the Volusia County Road. We should also note that some of these cities do not provide the same services, such as law enforcement, or the same level of services. So there's plenty of variables when reviewing these millage rates. Here we see another 12-year historic look back at our taxable property values. This shows a favorable trend for the investment of our residents and businesses, but the forecasted outlook, we anticipate seeing more of a leveling off of property values and that of new construction. When it comes to forecasting future revenues, the future is a little gray. given the conversation in our state's capital, though we may or may not see an elimination of property taxes, it's fairly certain we'll see some level of change, which will have an impact on future revenues that we need to continue to provide services with. Right now, our total taxable values for this year are $10,446,633,026. Our new construction taxable value is $549,332,990. So our taxable value less new construction is $9,900,300,036. Bless you. Well, like any good investment strategy, you want to make sure that you have a diversified portfolio. Thanks to the strategic investment in our community and the thoughtful decisions of the City Commission, as you can see, we have a fairly diversified portfolio of investment in our city. Since we previously compared ourselves to other cities, I wanted to offer a few examples to demonstrate our positive standing. For instance, our residential is 47%, Deltona is 85%, DeLand 65%, South Daytona 62%, Ormond Beach 67%, and Port Orange 67% residential. Just to give you a feeling for how diversified our portfolios with a fair mix of both commercial and residential. I mentioned residential percentages, as it's often said that residential is more expensive given the services that need to be provided. And so that's why we want to make sure that we maintain this balance. If there are no questions from me, I'd like to turn over the presentation to our CFO, Natalia Eckroth.
And for the record, our educators have made it into the room.
Thank you, Drew. So next portion we're going to discuss is going to be revenue, our favorite topic. So here we see, as mentioned before by city manager, we built our budget on 5.93 mills, which is, for second year we have that millage rate. So here we showed revenue citywide, it's $379 million, and general fund revenue 159, because usually our main focus is general fund, of course. So property taxes citywide $60.5 million, for general fund 58. So the difference comes from general obligation bond, series 2012, which is recorded in different fund, debt service funds. It's about $1.4 million. Just for the note, that bond was issued in 2012, and final maturity will be in 2029. So we only look at 4 more years paying that. So other taxes include, you can see down there, it's utility taxes, water utility taxes, natural gas, propane, and communication service tax. So basically, most of it comes from the state and FPNL. So that pie shows our general fund revenues and shows segments as you see them. As expected, our property tax accounts for 37% of general fund, which is our largest portion. So our second portion would be other sources. Other sources accounts for 14%. So basically, it's charges for services that we do, our recreation programs, Peabody, band shell, outside detail. That would be all there. Basically, what we bring as a revenue through programs account in that segment. Other taxes I just showed on previous slide. I made a mistake. It was general government, what I was just talking about. Other sources, it would be debt service and transfers. My apology. So debt service, when we, let's say in fiscal 25, 24, we issued bonds, it goes into that segment. So other is intergovernmental. It's basically anything we receive from the state of Florida that will be in that section. And very small fine and forfeitures. Miscellaneous, we usually put investment income. If we have, let's say, sale of land, both in there, and different reimbursements. So that pie shows our expenditures by department. It's very self-explanatory. We try to basically hit every department we have in general fund. So our biggest department is police department. It has 335 full-time employees, and this year we're projecting about $54 million for that department alone. So next would be Public Works. It accounts for about 15%. We have about 127 employees full-time, and it accounts about $41 million, and a lot of this, of course, capital project, as expected. 41 million. And also, I just want to point out, in your book, that
What is
we,
it? I'm sorry, could you repeat that again?
$41 million.
Okay. And the police department was 54?
54,
And how many employees there?
Employees?
335 employees.
Thank you.
Police. So next department would be also, of course, fire department. We have about 125 employees, and it accounts this year about $21 million. And all this information in your books, I just want to point out, you should have it by department.
In your books,
Yeah.
each tab has the actual numbers for
Right.
everything in each.
And at the end of my portion, I just want to, have a couple words about the book, how the best to use it. So other departments, and you see smaller, which is expected, and our non-operating department, what we call it, but basically what it accounts for, it's all the transfers we have, long-term payments, long-term debt payments, and also we have about 5 million. So when we receive CRA money, we book it in general fund. And our portion of city goes into CRA funds. So basically, that's transfers would be in that non-operating. So this year, we have about $14 million in that segment. And again, all the details in your book. All these details you will see at the end. Each section has label. And if you have any other questions, please let us know. Is any questions for this piece from me? I can hear me. Okay. And next section will be to our legendary HR director.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jim Sexton. I'm the Human Resources Director here at the city. We knew going into this fiscal year it was going to be a tough year. All 4 union contracts expire this September. We've been actively collective bargaining with all 4 units. We do have a tentative agreement that should be before you on September 17th meeting with our AFSCME unit, which is basically the blue collar and some of the white collar employees. And when we went into the year, we budgeted a 4% cost for employee raises, for non-public safety employee raises. We budgeted 4% cost. For public safety, we budgeted a 5% cost. And as you know, through our active bargaining, yes, sir. Oh, my bad. Let me get a slide up there for you. Through our active bargaining, we've been negotiating with the team, and it hasn't been going as well as usual. So we've had a couple executive sessions. We have some marching orders. And I fully believe by the end of this week, I should have a signed Coastal Florida PBA agreement and a FOP agreement, which are both of our police units. I meet with the fire sometime next week. But these are some of the expenses in the personnel budget account. We also have the police and fire pension contribution, which last year was $11.4 million. This year it's $11.8 million. That does include the state money that we received from the 175, 185 funds. So that's all inclusive of that. So it's about an increase of $388,000. Our group health insurance, as we know, the prices just keep going up. So we experienced a 4% increase on our health insurance to the tune of about $500,000. So a lot of the new money we just heard about is going in personnel costs and benefits and pensions and things like that. New positions. As we sit here right now, we have 996 budgeted full-time positions, 15 part-time. So that's a total of 111 positions. In this year's budget request that the committee reviewed, we received 16 new position requests, and we had 2 departments actually eliminate a position. Human Resources Department, I have a vacancy, so we're eliminating that position. City Clerk's Office has a vacancy, so we're eliminating that position. So that helps offset some of the costs of the new positions that we are going to approve. So the committee has approved all 16. It's obviously up for your review now. So that would bring us to 1,010 full-time employees and 15 part-time employees if the budget is approved as it is. I won't try to read all these, but it's basically a couple of new employees in information technology. Yes, ma'am.
I'm curious, I know those new positions are in all departments, but do you have any idea of what departments those new positions are in? I'm just curious.
Yes.
Is this it?
All right, so you're asking which ones are in which departments?
I was just wondering roughly, do you know if they're all in the same department? different
So maybe the better question on the next slide is how much general fund, how much is in other funds? We can talk about that. So out of the general fund of these positions, 12.75 are in the general fund for 751,000. Permits and licensing, water and sewer fund, IT, which is an internal service fund, those are in there as well. So you had the IT, you had the Office of the City Auditor, it's a brand-new position. He's here tonight, Abinet, nice to see you in the audience tonight. He's our new auditor, and we have now funded a full-time position for him for next year. And we are going to start working with him. It's day 2. I don't know what he's been doing, but it's day 2 already, and we're going to start filling his position. Just kidding. So utilities add an equipment operator, which I believe is a vac truck operator. Fire department's looking for some 3 new firefighters, a GIS application specialist, and another fire inspector. Public Works is adding a concrete crew, and I can't tell you how important that is. As you know, we have a lot of liability, got 28 miles and miles and miles of sidewalks out there, so we need a fresh concrete crew to help us keep up with some of those repairs. And as I just mentioned, the effect on the general fund of the new positions is $750,000, and then to the other revenue funds brings us up to $1 million about in new costs for new personnel. And that's it for my presentation. Any questions about the personnel budget side? All right, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Kylie Trevuzzi. I'm the budget manager. As I was introduced before, I've been with the city for 4 months. So,
The new Fred.
yep, we're gonna have some fun talking about the capital projects. For the budget purposes and for everyone to know, the definition of what we're considering capital projects for in the budget is any major capital acquisitions and constructions that we anticipate could last longer than a year. We also budget for capital outlay, which is acquisitions of capital that we believe will take less than a year. But this is the long-term major projects. We're talking major construction, things of that nature. So this year, the budget that you have in front of you includes funding for 13 capital projects at about $10.2 million. The capital outlay, as I mentioned before, this year the budget includes about $3 million for capital outlay. The budget committee reviewed all of capital project requests that came in from department heads and made decisions on which ones that we recommended funding based off of the immediate needs of the city, funding available, as well as the commissioner's priorities that Mr. Gauger mentioned before. So on this slide, it's the first of 2 that shows the 13 capital projects that we are recommending funding for this year. There's a 5-year projection on what we believe the capital projects will be in your budget book around page 201. So that gives a projection for the long term. This is more of just the immediate term. Some of the projects of note is we did budget $4.1 million for the road resurfacing citywide program. That's split between 2 funds, so it's 2 lines up here. About $850,000 is from the Fifth Set Gas Tax Fund, and the remainder of that is coming out of our general fund. I'm gonna go to the next slide now.
Wait, can you go back to that slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Blue Road in our budget book, does that have everything on there? Mr. Manager? On the CRA's Blue Road, does it have,
Yeah, it outlines.
will it have
everything in it.
detail? It'll be in detail? Okay.
see.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, where do you see that?
I'm looking
She's
at
asking
Blue
you
Road
if
right there,
She's asking if the redevelopment.
132.
132. Well, it's for land acquisition. That's what I'm reading, right? I thought you
Yes.
said something. Did you say something else, or did I?
No, that's all I was asking, is to have complete details in our budget book.
Yeah, page, it starts on page 93, it gives the full detail.
What page?
Page 93, but you'll have the tab.
Okay.
It'll have the tabs.
There, each of the capital
okay, I'll look
projects
at it
that we
later.
have also in the book has its own individual page that gives more detail, anticipated start, stop, the detail of what it is. Those pages start at page, 207. That's each of these projects has an individual page dedicated directly to that in the book.
Okay, thank you.
So, of course. So the next slide, this is a continuation of some of the capital projects. Another notable project that I wanted to point out is the police patrol gun trade-in. That is not 4.1 million, that's $186,000. That is to replace all of the handguns for our police, to get rid of a lot of them that are out of service, outdated, and could have a safety impact in the future, as well as $130,000 for the police rugged laptop replacement. That is to replace over 10-year-old laptops that are currently in patrol vehicles that are about to be unserviceable. So
What about the vehicles that we shouldn't even have, that we're still driving around, because we still have Impalas and,
part of that with funding is in the, if I'm not mistaken, Natalia, in the FY25 funding, we're starting to replace those vehicles starting this year. So that's not showing up as new funding currently. That's actually current funding, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
and does their impact fees take care of some of this?
The impact fees may be eligible. I am not the expert on what is and is not impact fee. So.
And also, many of the items have been discussed with the police fleet and the police chief of trying to figure out what vehicles should have already been removed off of our asset list. And so, but we are moving forward, purchasing the necessary vehicles and removing those that should not be in our fleet.
That would be awesome, because I think we're the only city in Volusia County that still has them.
Yeah, well, some of those vehicles have just been on what we call a deadline and not being used.
Okay. I mean, Officer Rayner, he was in one of them. That was what, how many years? 2, 3 years ago? Okay.
Any other questions on capital projects? All right. So just a reminder about the public hearing information. The first public hearing to read the budget is tonight at 6 p.m. That's what we will be going into this. Between the first and second public hearing is when, if you have any feedback or any changes, we can make those changes. We also will be advertising, as per Florida statute, in the News Journal. So that will be coming out most likely the weekend before the next hearing, which is on the 17th, which is the next public hearing, September 17th. That's when we will be, well, you guys will be adopting the final budget for the year and ratifying the millage rate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So within your budget books that you received in July, and about 2 weeks ago, you received this budget book. It actually has, as Commissioner Cantu just says, it has itemized items in each of the budget line items that you will be able to see where the money is going for expenses, revenues, and capital projects. One of the key things I did want to say, the money that you all have been given for many years in reference to to nonprofits or outside groups, there is a form that they will all receive. It's online actually now. Before they are able to receive their funds, they have to complete that form, providing us with the information relative to their nonprofit status, board meetings, organizations. But the money is there, but the checks will not be cut until they fill out those forms, if you all approve to continue to donate to those entities.
And do they come back to us again?
No, if you all approve it for us to do that, they fill out that form, we will execute, we will actually move forward with giving out those funds. Things like, I'll just use for an example, different groups that we give funds to now, Fresh Book, Festival, if we give money to, if they fill out all the forms and they're complete, they will be able to get the funding. If they don't, they will probably have to come back to you all and ask, because we're going to make sure they stick to that form.
And what does all the forms have, I mean, the question on the forms?
It was sent out about a year. It's actually online. It says you have to have nonprofit status. It shows us all of the additional funds you receive from outside entities and agencies. We want to know if you receive money from other groups, if you're meeting the requirements for meeting public notifications, things of that nature, just so we can know if you're getting 10,000 from another group and we're giving 30,000. Some people may come back in the middle of the year, ask for more money, but we will be able to know how much they're receiving for outside groups as well.
And does it show what they're spending the money on?
Yes.
It does.
And do they have to report after they've gotten the money? Is there a report afterwards back
Yes.
to us?
Yes. Trying to pull it up now.
They shouldn't, if they haven't filled out the form, what's the use of, why would they come back and ask us again?
Because that's what people do. When we tell them no, they're going to come to you all.
Yeah, but we've already approved money and then they didn't follow the procedures.
And if we
So
say
if
they
they
didn't,
don't follow the procedures, then you have to tell us.
yeah, well, we will tell you if they come back to you. We will definitely tell you that they haven't followed those procedures.
Then there's no need in approving it in the future. Okay.
Can you just confirm that it's what's on page 12 in the book? Is that what you're talking about?
That's not all of the grants. These are the grants from 225 that were paid. So we'll make sure that you get the whole list of all of the grants that have been paid for the past. We actually have a list of all of the grants that have been paid. But there are places like Clash. I use Clash, which is a NASCAR type thing that you all have funded for the marathon. If they don't fill out their form, they're going to come back to you all.
And they still got to fill out the form, coming back to us?
I know. But we'll make sure to, Kylie, to give the entire list from last year of any outside donations we've given. I know you pulled it up before, but we'll make sure to send that also
We'll
to the
get a
commissioners.
copy of
Yeah,
it.
to see every single contribution that was provided.
And they'll give the total amount that we give as well?
Yes.
Do you answer that of a school? You don't answer that of a
Yeah,
school.
it's actually anyone. It's anyone that the city receives money from, that form, and I thought it was, I could pull it up online. You pulled it up, Drew?
Well, you've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah, we have, and you all looked at it about a year ago. So, but that's the thing, and we just,
Right?
but yeah, Drew is going to try to pull it up. But we'll get the entire list. Also, we have a list of any funds that have been given out through the ARPA or community funds. We have an actual list of all of those funds that have been given out for the entire past year also, that you all can see as well.
We could email the link.
And I've seen
So
that
I don't
list
cry.
by name, so that we can see who we've given funding to. I've seen that.
Yeah.
They send it to us in email periodically. Drew does.
Or he'll text it to you if you ask him.
Yeah, he's good for that.
Always asking.
And so those are based off of the priorities that you all have. We've done that, but all of the detailed information is within your budget book of everything that we've spent on and where the money is going. And as Kylie has stated, if you have any questions within the next 2 weeks, you can also share that with us as well, and we will update it and bring it to you all based on that. Hopefully, we'll have all of our negotiations done by the time, or at least where we can provide that information to you, and it can be also in the budget, and we won't have to make any budget amendments after that.
Was the rollback rate provided?
Yeah.
It's on the overview. $5.6962.
That's not the rollback rate, is it?
That's it. That concludes our presentation.
Hey, Mayor?
All right. Do you all have anything else? Until we hit the gavel, ready to go. All right, we'll see you upstairs.